Hello there, and welcome to the EduNation community blog. My name is Ray Mitchell, and I am the founder of this forum. I am an 18-year-old Jamaican American first generation college student who just finished his freshman year at the Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, I am currently studying and doing majors in political science and sociology, as well as pursuing minors in entrepreneurship and urban studies. Now then, with those four concentrations, some people probably are asking themselves, why exactly are you going into these four different fields? It's awesome. It's awesome that you're going into these four different fields to gain so much information, so much expertise, so much knowledge while you're still young, just because there's so much time for you to do that. But why exactly are you doing that? What's the overlap between these things? What do you foresee yourselves doing that entails having these four different fields be of service, be of use to you? For me, these things definitely do have some sort of overlap within all of them that connects each of them in terms of an area that they can definitely be of great service to me in terms of my passion, and I have a major vision for what I foresee in terms of this area of expertise that I intend on using these four different disciplines in. And that area of expertise is education. Education has always been my lifelong passion. Now, the reason why I've always been passionate about education is I just love to learn new things. Now, I may not have been the person that always asks questions during lectures, but I'm the one that's dutifully taking notes. What I would do going home is I would look back at my notes, anything that caught my attention, anything that I had some burning questions about. I would research, I would do extra readings, take extra time to do readings, highlight, do the whole entire annotated margins in my notes as well, and I would do extra practice problems just to be more well versed in these new things that I was learning, the new material that I was learning, just to be able to understand that material better and to see new things that I may or may not have entirely grasped in the lecture. In essence, I love to be able to have that independence, that power to teach myself. And it all stems from just being able to take initiative to try and be interested in what's being taught to me. Being interested in the fact that this is something new, something that I don't know of beforehand, and I want to expand upon that knowledge just to be able to keep myself updated. So I love new things. So it's the process of education and educating yourself and familiarizing yourself with concepts and continuing to do so because you never really are finished with learning. That process just fascinates me wholeheartedly. The other side of that, the other reason why I'm not the one to always ask questions is because I'm busy people watching during Q&A sessions. Now, what I do is I'd like to sit back quietly and just take it all in. I'd like to look at everyone else's facial reactions, look at people's faces as they ask their questions, and as they get responses from the lecturer. And I like to look at the expressions and the tone and just the way how the lecturers carry themselves whenever answering certain questions. Because for all of us, it's a learning experience. For me, it's a learning experience because I'd never thought of any of these questions, which is part of the reason why I just wouldn't ask them. I would just never look at the material in such a way that causes me to ask the question in that certain way or have those burning questions. So to the people that actually have the courage to ask questions during lectures or during Q&A sessions, kudos to you. Major respect. I enjoy listening to what you have to say because everyone has a different angle to the situation. And what I just said about why I value questions during Q&A sessions is it goes the same for everyone else. Everyone else has their own different interpretation of what the material, what the content in front of them is in terms of how they absorb it, especially the person that's giving us that content, the lecturer. So for them, it's very useful in terms of receiving these questions because it allows them to see their content in a different way and craft up different responses, and if they ever are presented with a question that they don't immediately know the answer to, it allows them to be able to realize, okay, there's a little bit of a gap in my knowledge. I'm very interested in this topic already. Let me go hone my knowledge, do the extra research so I know how to answer this question, and I won't have to worry about people that ask me this question, the same question, but in a different way. I actually answer their question and not leave them confused or unsatisfied. And for the other people in the room that either were asking that question or were wondering that same thing but didn't know how to contextualize it, those sessions are very useful just because they're able to think of the situation in a different light from their own perspective, and it may address some burning questions that they have without necessarily having them to ask that question. So, in essence, in short, I enjoy seeing other people learn new things and expose themselves to new topics because I just enjoy seeing the exchange of ideas and diffusion of ideas so that everyone's gaining something. Because at the end of the day, at the end of that Q&A session, everybody, lecturer, audience members, we're all taking something away from that session because we're all looking at the content from a different light, and we've absorbed something from the content. We've absorbed something from the questions. We've absorbed something substantive. We've absorbed something of value that we all can take into our daily lives. We can all take into our just general interest in that topic and further upon it just because there was something that resonated with us. Now, I also love, in terms of education, witnessing people learning and discovering what exactly their passions are and talking about what it is. Granted, in terms of our education system in the United States, it's not exactly known for producing creativity and allowing for that freedom for people to be able to do what they want for the rest of their lives. And to an extent, that's correct. However, I'm not talking about just education within the walls of a classroom. I'm talking about education throughout in terms of the lived experience. Just because you can see something happening in the streets, you can hear something that your teacher said, see something in a book that you're reading for fun, some news tabloid that you've seen, some meme or video that you've watched. Something can strike a heartstring that makes you go, I like that. I love that, actually. That's so interesting. Wow. So some pivotal experience can cause you to be passionate about a certain topic, and there you are, interested in learning about how to immerse yourself more in that topic, how to learn more, and for those that are highly interested in expanding upon their knowledge base, their skill set, and actually pursuing that passion of theirs, they're going to put in the hours, they're going to put in the work, they're going to put in the time, they're going to discipline themselves to be able to achieve that dream and make it a reality through hours and hours of repetition in terms of learning and just doing what they need to do in terms of actually achieving that dream and making it their reality, their actual lived experience. And now finally, the biggest reason why I just chose education as my passion is because I believe that it's the greatest equalizer in life for anybody that's trying to improve their situation. Now, the perfect case in point is of my mom. In the summer of 1999, she was 16 years old, 4 months fresh off the plane trip from Jamaica to the United States, and had just given birth to me, a baby boy, in Brooklyn, New York. For her, the future was riddled with many uncertainties because A, she was a single teen mother. B, she was very much far away from her immediate family because she had essentially been ostracized and blacklisted for being so young and having a child. Now just as a disclaimer, ever since, the family has reconciled their dislikes and all that, and the relationship between my mother, my grandparents, and all those back in Jamaica, much better. They're much closer. But back at that time, things were very dicey for them. And C, my mom didn't even get to finish high school, so there weren't many prospects in front of her in terms of career opportunities and things that she could do to better herself. And also, she just didn't understand how social mobility worked in this country in terms of the need for the acquiescence of skills and connections. So, wasn't sure how she was going to be doing anything. And also, there was a lot of fear in her at the time because after living in New York for 4 months, she realized how high crime rates and low probability of life success for young Black and Latino boys was pretty jarring at the time in the late 90s and early 2000s. She's just given birth to a black boy, and she's living in a low-income community, so she didn't know whether or not the two of us would become statistics. However, she made sure. She put in the time. She put in the effort. She made herself become more educated, more aware of the situation, more aware of life and how to make sure that we don't become statistics. To move on, so that 18, 19 years later, we have something to look back on and say, hey, well, we did not let our circumstances define who we are. You know, she didn't let the fact that she didn't have a high school diploma, nor that she didn't know how the U.S. system worked, define her. In fact, she got her GED, got her associate's degree to prove that there's no obstacle that's too high, no hurdle that's too high to jump, despite having a young child back when she was getting her GED, and then 2 more while she was getting her associates. You know, she wanted to prove that to me and prove that to my younger siblings once they were born, that these things can be achieved. You can delay your gratification if whatever you're delaying your gratification for means that much for you. And in that example, that's for finding a suitable father figure for me in terms of who she wants to incorporate into my life, because, like as I mentioned, she was a single mother. And rather than just jumping into a relationship at 16, 17, 18 in this new country, she put that off until she found herself a suitor that would not only treat her rights, fulfill her emotional needs, but would also be a great father figure to me and wouldn't do anything terrible to me. And dare I say this with as much pride and love, she definitely found a suitable father figure for me. I love him to death. Thank you, Denzel. You're an amazing person. And yeah, she just made sure that she read up what she could read up in terms of health habits, school pedagogy, my curricula, kept herself updated on that, got to know all of my teachers and all of my principals in the schools that I attended these various years, and made sure that she was aware of all these little nuances within this system that she hadn't grown up in, to make sure that she wasn't going to let herself become a statistic, and I wouldn't become a statistic, and be able to allow for me to live a much better life and have many more opportunities afforded to me than what's currently available to her when she was 16, 17, 18, going on 19, as I am right now. And with me being finished with my freshman year at Northeastern University, college essentially paid off through financial aid and just scholarships, and being able to go to Tokyo to take a class for a month, you know, I dare say that I think I'm making her proud, and I think that her work has definitely paid off, and I hope to continue making her proud. And I love you, Mom. I hope to keep on, I hope to keep on keeping on, and show that the foundation that you established in terms of hard work, discipline, self-sufficiency, and understanding that you have to focus on your end game. I hope that I continue to work upon that, and not only do I hope, but I will, for you and especially for myself. So thank you. So in terms of, what does education mean to me? What does the word education mean to me? Now that we're going into all these now that I just passed in by these pillars of why education, what does it mean to me? It means everything. Life is a continuous learning process. As I had said in one of my little pillars earlier, you know, you are always learning. You never stop learning. And maybe this is just because I went to a middle school called Michelangelo Junior High School, where the big quote that was plastered all throughout our halls and walls and really dominated thought in our English classes was a quote, "I am still learning," made by an aging Michelangelo, who is one of the greatest minds of the Renaissance period, if not of human history. And so the question for our staff was that they posed upon us is, why exactly would Michelangelo need to be still learning at his age? What more does he need to learn? Why would he need to learn? You know, and although I didn't appreciate the significance of the quote at the time when I was 12, 13 years old, it meant a lot to me. So much so that I think that going into my freshman year of high school, that philosophy just became ingrained in me, ingrained in my head. I became known as the academic in the secondary college preparatory program that I was in for high school. I was known by this quote, this sarcastic adage, where I said, basketball isn't life, school is life. And although I was half-heartedly saying that because I'm terrible at basketball, you know, people associated that with me because of how much effort, time, discipline I put into learning new things, being an academic, making sure that I achieved much from my academics in terms of grades and in terms of what I was learning, since I wasn't trying to do well just to do well. I mean, it's nice to do well, but I was trying to do well because I wanted to make myself interested in these things and actually absorb the material so that years later, you know, for whatever reason, I can recall that if I want to help younger siblings or anyone else and say, I remember that thing from high school, I remember that thing from middle school, and even though I may not have application for this in my daily life, I was able to call back upon that knowledge from all those years back. I want to do that. So, going forward, we're moving back on topic with this whole thing about education is life, school is life. I didn't realize how much that would define my philosophy on life. Like, I truly believe that every experience you do, whether it's learning how to carry a water bottle properly to make sure that you're not dropping it, or how to work a laptop or work an iPad, like the one I'm recording this video with, or being able to read articles or access videos, that involves you educating yourself and learning something new. And with education, it involves failure. Sometimes you slip up working with Wi-Fi. Sometimes you slip up with accessing internet. Sometimes you slip up with carrying a water bottle properly. And that's back when you're younger, not necessarily when you're older. But just in terms of motor skills, ability, muscle memory, and just overall needing to keep on keeping on, because all these things are integral parts of your daily life. So you keep on practicing to understand how these things work. And then there you go, you end up becoming so attuned to doing these things naturally that you don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to think about having to read words or connect sentences together to understand topics. You don't need to even think about accessing your iPad or accessing your laptop to be able to understand information and to access information. You don't have to think about it too much to carry a water bottle and open it to drink water. It's at that point it's just natural, because after repetition and practice and some failures along the way, in whatever way, shape, or form these failures come with these different things, you learned how to handle these things. Now let me use an example that's a lot more nuanced and a lot more difficult. Building relationships. With each new person you meet in life, despite all these health books and all these personality books that are out there that provide these tools, there's no one specific path to building a relationship with each individual that you meet in life. Everyone's different, and like I mentioned, everyone comes from a different perspective, different walk of life to some extent. No two people are the same. So what you do, instead of trying to put this one-size-fits-all type policy, which even these books don't necessarily recommend, but instead of putting this one-size-fits-all type thing, you have to learn through repetition, meeting this person, having conversations with them, knowing when to ask certain things, how to ask them, based on what you've seen from them in terms of reactions to certain stimuli, and just seeing how the relationship will progress over time, whether or not it'll actually mean something to you or them, whether or not your frequencies are matched up in terms of being able to have genuine and substantive conversation, or if the relationship's just going to stay at small talk. All these things are determined from being around them, not whether or not that necessarily involves conversation is another thing in terms of developing relationships. But you learn how you're going to end up getting closer or far or separated or just not involved in another person's life based on you and them continually repeating that sense of interacting with each other and failing sometimes, falling flat on your face in terms of what things to ask them, because sometimes there's going to be awkwardness. But after time of interacting with each other, you get to see whether or not you guys are going to actually have something substantive, something that's kind of if it's going to just remain on small talk, or it's just going to remain as something that's, an associate level thing where you just say hi and bye, and that's it. And I like these more mundane tasks of accessing internet, accessing your laptops, or drinking your water and learning how to open and close these things so that it doesn't spill on you. That comes from hours of repetition, days of repetition, and just doing these things constantly in your daily life. What it also means to me, what education also means to me, is that every new experience, everything allows you to come one step closer to finding your true life purpose, in my opinion. And whether you're entering the workforce for the first time, or you're seeing that, like I said, you're seeing that video for the first time that gets that light bulb in your head, it gets you thinking about, how do I do this? How do I have to sacrifice in order to get this? To get there with this thing that I enjoy. And you research, you practice, and you hopefully get there. So for me, education means freedom. It means liberty. It means the acquiescence of knowledge and understanding that you don't know everything, and excitement because you don't know everything, and being able to go forward from that and keep moving on to learn more about your passion and expand upon that until you're living the life that you enjoy, because you know so much about your topic of interest that you know that there's more out there to discover, and that's okay, and that's where the fun begins, because the fun will never end. You will always have something to learn, and there's always something new to draw upon, and you'll always enjoy that topic because you can never get bored. And that there is the magic of education, because everything you do ties into you learning something new. Whether you've been learning about it for 20 years, all your entire life, or just 2 days, always something new. Now, with EduNation, why did I form it? What I hope to do is I established a website blog that you can find the link into the description. And I have links to social media, the Instagram for the page, the Facebook for the page, And the purpose of this is truly aligned with the values that I have on my website, which, once again, you can find in the link in the description. I truly believe in the words I said in the mission statement of that website, and I truly believe in everything that's said in the 6 values that I have underneath that mission statement. But the one I hope to reiterate, and I hope resonates with everybody watching this video, is the last one: keeping the end goal in mind. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take the time to repeat that value so that everybody can think upon it and what it means to you. So, thank you for that time. Let me say that up. At the end of the day, we are all attempting to make use of our talents, or discover in what areas we have talents, to contribute to the improvement of our society through the creation of a highly educated populace. That is true regardless of where each of us are coming from in life. And thus it's our duty, for the sake of the future generations of this world, to reconcile our ideological differences, agree to disagree, and work together to turn our discussions into proactive, sustainable results. And I hope to work alongside each of you to see this principle become widespread throughout our society. I hope to learn something I had never been exposed to, and discover a different approach to discovering solutions to problems from each of you. and I hope to create a community in which each of you feel comfortable to test the waters and discover your life purpose and how you may turn your dreams into reality. And I hope to be of service to each of you and to have brought value into your lives. I truly look forward to building this community with each of you. And it is humbling. It is humbling to have started this community. And like I said, I look forward to working upon it with each of you. So, to wrap up this video, if any of this resonated with you, I would love for you to share your thoughts with the community and I, if you don't mind, in the comment section. Now, whether you're talking about the word education, what it means to you, what your life story is, or what your passion is, your contribution to the growth of this community is greatly appreciated. Now, feel free to send me a message through the share your thoughts section of the website. DM me via Instagram. The links are in the description below for Instagram and Facebook, as well as feel free to email me at EduNation, so EduNation 0816 and subscribe to the YouTube page if you want more video content. Sorry that this video went for so long. It's just, this is my passion, and I wanted everyone to be familiar with who the face behind the name is. And I'd like to really extend my hand out, let you know that I truly want to make this a family and make this become real in terms of making my dream of really improving the education and the rhetoric of education in our country and across the world for everybody, and make it a reality that we can do this and that we all can be integrative and together. Thank you for coming to my YouTube page, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend.